Today we are going over the 5 best exercises to do with the Rogue Cannonballs. If you haven't seen my review on these, go check them out. And if you're coming from that video specifically, welcome back. My name is Jason. I specialize in movement and rehabilitation. Let's dive into a little bit of anatomy to help you better understand why I chose these exercises. So we're just going to skim the surface in regards to anatomy, but let's dive into my anatomy app here. The biggest point that I want to make is that we have extrinsic muscles, which looks like one that I have here. It starts in the forearm and goes down into the hand. And you have intrinsic muscles, which start in the hand and then stay in the hand. So depending on the position of the wrist and the fingers or the hand, when you're doing exercises, and the movement at each of these joints is going to depend on the muscles that you're specifically targeting. And whether it's an isometric, concentric, or eccentric exercise, and maybe a combination between both because you're working different muscle groups. So our first exercise is hangs. It's a pretty straightforward isometric exercise. You can really change the experience just based off of how you grab it. So you can go over the top, you can grab it from the side like this, where you're really just going to work on a lot of that thumb strength as well. You can go underhand grips, but the same principle applies to all of it. You're just going into a basic hang like this, going for pretty much as long as you can handle, and you can break it up into reps or anything that you so please, depending on what your specific goals are. If you want to make it more of a challenge, more of a dynamic movement, you're going to go into some pull-ups. Exercise number 2 is a deadlift. And again, we are working on isometric exercise with this because our joints aren't moving through a range of motion. And if you don't have a bar, you can do it with a kettlebell or a dumbbell. Kind of get creative. The goal is just to lift as much weight as possible. And you're going to lose range of motion here with your legs just because you're not as far down as what you are here with the bar. But just getting the grip on it that you want to train. And you're lifting up, back down. And again, play with the grips. Exercise number 3 is your favorite. It's everybody's favorite. It is a farmer's carry. So with this one, I want you to get creative. So you could do the basic. Again, work on pinch grabs. Work on different grips. But you're just going back and forth, keeping core nice and tight, right? You can do single arm. You can do double arm. And you can even mix in some bands that have that little bouncy extra weight to it. Exercise number 3 is wrist extension. And I know what you're thinking. How does that help with my wrist flexors? Well, here's a bonus tip for you. Your wrist flexors and extensors work together in tandem. So your wrist extensors, when they contract, they put your wrist in an optimal position for your wrist flexors to do their work. Because if they get too short, then they're not strong at all. Here's an exercise for you to do. So stick your finger inside your hand, just like so, and just squeeze as hard as you can here. Just look at what your wrist does. It's in slight extension. Now, if you go into complete flexion, as far as you can go, and then try and squeeze your finger, it just comes right out. This concept is called active insufficiency, which essentially just means that the muscles that cross multiple joints are so short that they're just not very effective at that muscle length. So when you're doing this exercise, it kind of works that muscles throughout that entire range of motion. So even at those shorter lengths, you're going to be a little bit stronger. The same thing goes for at the longer lengths. Again, work those wrist extensors to be able to do this. The last exercise on the list is your basic wrist curl exercise, which this is about the only exercise that you can do concentrically and eccentrically. Oh, that is too much weight for me. Without getting super creative. So that completes our first 5 exercises, the best exercises, according to me, using the Rogue Cannonball grips, these puppies right here. But let me know down in the comments if I missed something. If you guys have any other cool ideas, any sort of dynamic movements that you can do that I didn't pick up on in this video. Again, they're just 5 that I commonly use. Here is your bonus tip. Get yourself a massage gun. Outside of stretching and doing any sort of wrist flexor, extensor, stretching, which you should be doing those after any sort of lifts because we're always using those. You should be doing them throughout the day to keep them nice and long. This is my favorite one right here at the fingers, going down just like that. It's a good pull all the way from the wrist all the way up to the forearm here at the elbow where the common wrist flexor tendons attach. But get yourself a Medcursor or something else, a massage gun. You can get them from $60 to $100 anywhere on the internet. You can get them at Walmart, and even some gas stations sell them on the way to PT school. I've seen some there. But real simple. The batteries on these things last a long time. I'll post a link down in the description below. But it's good for everything, not just your finger flexors. So $100 is what I got this on, and I did see them on Amazon for less than that. So check the link down below to see the current price. But otherwise, I hope to see you guys in the next one.